Yo guys, welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing a different kind of video. No, it is not a Broadway video, and yes, it is not a boxing prediction. It is how I would do my own YouTube boxing card. Now, I've seen a lot of the reception to the show star card that happened recently, and I've noticed a lot of people are pretty mad about the card in general. I'm gonna pick my ideal fantasy card just off the bat, who I would like to see now, and the rules and my restrictions on these fights would follow beyond just this like dream card. I would love to see Austin McBroom versus Annie Songib in the UK. I love to see Deji and Alex Wasabi 2, King Kenny versus FaZe Tempo 2. I'd love to see FaZe Jarvis versus Money Kicks. That's definitely a fight that people would want to see. I would love to see Slim or Adam Sala take on Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor, because I think Anthony would lose that fight. But I think the hype, the drama, the build-up would be so electric and so amazing that I highly believe that this would be the fight to make, and I think it would be a good way to start off the card. Now, so that's my kind of my dream carding, and some of those are undercard fighters. Oh, and Saul Poppy, we got to get him back there. And I love to see Vitaly fight again, because he's good at marketing, but not good at fighting. Monitor fighters that are on the card, and more specifically, make it so that watching over the undercard fighters. And if they feel that the YouTubers are not training hard enough, or just doing this for the money, or just doing this because they need relevancy, they get cut out and replaced. Because I feel like, and this I think will make the boxing purists happy, and I do agree that these big cards are giving a huge platform to fighters like the guy that headbutted DK Money or whatever at the fight, or Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. Like, those are guys that shouldn't deserve to have been on that card. Being on that card is a privilege and not something to be taken lightly, and I think that there are a lot of really good amateur novice boxers in the Ireland, UK scene that deserve to be highlighted, that deserve to be spotlighted, that deserve to be given to a whole new audience. Saw what Jake Paul did with Amanda Serrano, and how much he did for her numbers. You know, she's at Madison Square Garden. So it's a great way for small-time fighters that have a lot of potential and have that personality to become the next big thing. And again, fighting on this card is a privilege, and I think it should be made up of influencers too, but I also think that we should have real pro boxers in this fight to legitimize it, but also to make sure that people that aren't interested in the YouTube fighters that are the adults can be lured in, knowing that they're going to get quality boxing, that they're not going to get just these crazy circus headbutt fights. So that way it can increase the pay-per-view buys, you can probably increase the price, and it will bring a lot more legitimacy to the YouTube boxing scene, which is what I think it needs. I think that these YouTube boxing events should be a mix of circus, but also of professionalism. And when it's too much of a circus, it's not great. For example, I guess Showstar, and when it's too much of a product and professionalism, like Jake Paul and Logan on Showtime, it's too bland and stale. Another thing is keeping the price to a minimum of $20. You know, these young fans, people like investors will look at the 20 million followers and think, oh my god, all those people are going to buy the pay-per-view, but the loyal fans are on YouTube, and even they will illegally stream the fights. What you need to do is keep it at a low price, which is what Showstar did, and not make it $40 or $50, or do dynamic pricing like Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, where 1 week or 1 month it was, you know, $15, and then it got increased to $25. So that way you could lure people in, and then be able to build up to a more expensive final pay-per-view price. You know, Gibb versus McBroom would sell out Wembley Arena, and I think could do Manchester. But a lot of these fights are not meant to be in 60,000 arenas like Social Gloves. If they did Social Gloves in the UK at the Copper Box, it would have sold out, and it would have looked great. So it's all about how you're perceived, and if your event doesn't sell out, if your event doesn't do the million pay-per-view buys, it's considered a flop by the fans and by the community. Another thing I would suggest is making sure that the production quality of the fights and of the events leading up to it are of a high quality and include the fans. One thing that Jake Paul fights do that I don't like is having no fans in the press conferences. And I think that's vital, and it brings an energy, it brings a new level to those press conferences, and making sure that the YouTube community is involved in this as much. And if you can, finding people that have genuine beef. Why so many YouTube boxing events don't work is because KSI and Joe, KSI and Logan, KSI and Jake, there's a storyline, but They have real, genuine beef, and authenticity and realness sells more on the internet now. I think another great addition would be to bring in movie actors to fight YouTubers. Imagine Dwayne Johnson versus Logan Paul, or KSI versus John Cena. The possibilities are endless. And ultimately, I think you need trusted, confident people that have done this before. You need to bring a level of professionalism. You need to include real fighters, and I think you need to expand it to other famous people in different avenues besides the influencer space. These fights don't need to show the most technical ability. They just have to be entertaining. Why Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley 2 flopped is because it wasn't entertaining. It was, for lack of a better term, boring. And yes, there was technique, but it was boring. People go to see YouTube fights for KOs, TKOs, and big shots, and to be entertained. They don't want to be sitting for 8 rounds watching technique. If they would do that, they would go and see a Floyd Mayweather fight. So anyways, guys, that's the video. Make sure to like, sub, and comment, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.